Hey everybody, it's James Dean with Nowhere Special. I'm here today with Nate from Corgi Spirits out of Jersey City. We're going to be tasting through their lineup, starting off with their Saddlecoat vodka.
Yep.
You want to explain it?
Yeah, absolutely. So Saddlecoat, named for the distinguished fur pattern of the Corgi dog, the Queen's dog, right? We're a British-inspired brand. So this is a potato vodka, Polish potato to be specific, triple distilled. Takes some pretty deep heads and tails cuts, so this really is just going to give you the opportunity to taste, just really get a sense of where the alcohol is coming from, the starch. So you can taste a little bit of potato off the middle of your palate, but as a good vodka should be, virtually tasteless on the front and back of the palate. A little bit creamier than most grain-based whiskeys. Again, this is actually what we use to make the gin, so this is a great vessel for those oils.
Yeah, clean, very smooth. I mean, potato's usually going to be one of the more mellower vodkas.
Yep, and I would say if there's going to be one, we always like to talk about just the flavor profiles of what we're actually putting into the spirits, but if there is one that I would always, kind of detect a little bit on my palate, I get a little bit of lemon peel on this, but beyond that, really just a clean vodka.
Nice. Cheers.
Cheers, Governor. So next up, we've got the Pembroke Gin. So this is as close to a London Dry as we're ever really going to produce. But again, trying to be really a proponent of what we would call sort of new age,
so what makes
modern
it different
style gins
than a London Dry?
So a London Dry really is only going to have some key components to it that most gins are going to have. So angelica, juniper, obviously, orris root, and coriander are typically some of the more common ingredients in a London Dry. But we're pushing the envelope a little bit further with this one. It's really citrus and peppercorn focused. Okay. So we use cubeb berry, which is a very in vogue black peppercorn, used in gin production these days. Pink peppercorns, which is a little bit of a sweeter pepper, so to kind of balance that out. And then we use 3 types of citrus: grapefruit, lemon, and orange, on top of a small amount of wildflowers as well. So it's going to not be super juniper forward. It's going to be, again, like I said, citrus and peppercorn focused.
I mean, you get that very acidic, tart, snappy.
Yeah, exactly. This really shines with cocktails that use citrus, because that pepper is going to cut through that sweetness and make it for a very balanced cocktail.
Sure. It's a mighty fine gin.
There you go.
Ooh. Glad we didn't decide not 2 ounces.
Seriously. So the next one is Earl Grey. So the name speaks for itself. This is a much simpler recipe compared to Pembroke. Pembroke's got about 14 different botanicals in it. This is just 7. So we're really letting the Earl Grey tea that we source from Harney & Sons in Millerton, New York, do a lot of the legwork. And the recipe itself is basically 1-to-1 juniper to Earl Grey. So really tea.
Well, I guess when you're saying that, because Earl Grey has so many different components to it.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to get that bergamot, and you're going to get,
Because isn't there orange rind in Earl Grey as well?
Correct, so bergamot oranges, so this makes for a really interesting cocktail component, not only for the things that we're talking about,
I have it on my own menu, so I use this in a cocktail I call the Mad Tea Party Collins. Back in the day, I used to make my own Earl Grey infused gin by just putting tea bags and letting it sit there for maybe an hour or so before it gets too bitter.
Absolutely, and we tried to bring that kind of production idea into the distilling room, because it makes for a shelf-stable product. Yeah. If you're going to do your own steeping at home, great, cool. You should absolutely experiment. But if you don't get through that gin in the first couple of days, it's going to get very bitter. So this is a much easier product for sort of your home bartender and for your bar
or a legal bartender in New York.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because in New York you can't doctor bottles, so it's nice to have something that's just usable.
So this last product, this is a Frankenstein whiskey that I created when I first got hired at this company. So this is a blend of a 4-year American barley and a 4-year Canadian rye. So we, as a British-inspired brand, are never going to produce a corn-based whiskey, just not in our DNA.
So this is
exactly. So this one has really got kind of all the benefits of some traditional Irish whiskeys. You're going to have really nice grassy flavors on the front, almost vegetal, and then you're going to get that rye spice on the back. It's definitely a little bit of a drier whiskey, but a very interesting product and kind of an animal of its own. Not too many of these blends out there on the market.
No, but that's when like one of the things that's kind of cool in the market now is like the blends are becoming more of like everyone like makes a base spirit, and then it comes down to a distillery to kind of like play around. You know, like not everyone has the time to make a 5-year-old rye or this, you know, a 12-year-old bourbon. Or,
and especially, I mean, we've only been open for 3.5 years, so obviously this was sourced.
Be a very new whiskey.
Very new whiskey, yeah, exactly. But you know, the idea is basically to try to create something that is unique and unto itself, and try to just come up with a unique product.
Yeah,
that was the whole idea, and I think we succeeded with this one.
Nice. Yeah, very clean. I mean, it's got that little sharp note on the end from the rye.
Mm-hmm.
But
and at 90 proof, it drinks like a little bit less.
Yeah.
But
very cool.
Great whiskey.
Yeah, fired up. All right. Well, Nick, thanks so much. Cheers.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody.